Clerk Seegers, can you please take roll call?
Borninski.
Good evening.
Foster.
Good evening.
Ganguly is not present. Graham Hudek.
Good evening.
Let the record reflect that Segrist is in attendance, Slavens,
Good evening.
and Snyderman.
I am here.
Thank you. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first item on our agenda is a closed session, but we are going to start the study session after we adopt the agenda, and then we can pause when our person comes in. Okay, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So do we want to just remove adoption of agenda since we have no action items today and we're going to potentially?
Sure.
I just remove the adoption of the agenda.
Okay. All right, well, this tonight is on a study session on ERP replacement project. So Victor Begbu, who is our ITI director, is going to give the session. Do I need to share the screen? I do, don't I? All right, so Victor, whenever you're ready, take it away, and then we'll pause when we have to.
Okay. Did you send the Sharon for me?
I did. Actually, while you're doing that, why don't we do this? So this Saturday is Thanksgiving. This Friday is Thanksgiving, but this Saturday is Small Business Saturday. And because of that, we as a board want to support Small Business Saturday and do a proclamation on it. So I would like to read a proclamation. Whereas the Canton Township Board of Trustees celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community, and whereas according to the U.S. Small Business Administration, there are 33.2 million small businesses in the United States. Small businesses represent 99.7% of firms with paid employees. Small businesses are responsible for 62.7% of net new jobs created since 1995, and small businesses employ 46.4% of the employees in the private sector in the United States. And whereas 68 cents of every dollar spent at a small business in the United States stays in the local community, and every dollar spent at small businesses creates an additional 48 cents in local business activity as a result of employees and local businesses purchasing local goods and services. And whereas 72% of consumers reported that Small Business Saturday 2022 made them want to shop and dine at small, independently owned retailers and restaurants all year long. And whereas Canton supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our communities. And whereas advocacy groups as well as public and private organizations across the country have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now, therefore, I, Amory Graham Hudek, Supervisor, do hereby proclaim November 25th, 2023 as Small Business Saturday and urge the residents of our community and communities across the country to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and to shop small throughout the year. We would also like to mention that the Canton Chamber is the community's official neighborhood champion for Small Business Saturday, and they wholeheartedly support Canton Township's proclamation. The Chamber's mission is to promote small business all year long. For a list of small businesses to support this weekend and throughout the shopping season, residents are welcome to visit the Canton Chamber's online membership directory at www.cantonchamber.com. Additionally, a list of special seasonal promotions offered by Canton businesses will be posted online and on the Canton Chamber's social media platforms. And they're going to be having a lot of swag. If anybody want to hold up their swag they got, the bags? We all have stickers too, and it says shop small. So shop small this Saturday. Yay. Okay. All right, thanks. Great. All right, Victor.
Okay. Still looking for your, can't find the sharing here.
It's not coming up?
No, not coming up for my side.
Are you in the webinar?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm joined in.
oh yeah, I see it.
Okay, I just got it.
Okay.
Awesome.
Go.
All right, thank you. right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. Over the past year and a half now, the ITI department has really been at work trying to understand what it is that we use to do the business of Canton Township. We've conducted a ton of surveys, done a lot of meetings, and it resulted in a few things that we all already know about. We started the process of doing, trying to figure out what sort of ERP solution will represent something that the township will be happy, that will bring in every solution, every software system in one place that will allow the public to interact with us in a seamless way. Well, that's like an easy goal to set. However, in doing so, we set out to do this by pushing out an RFP for our ERP. This RFP, we did it under a few guidelines. We did it under the guideline of investing in technology, which shall improve capacity and efficiency and reduce cost. The township also will embrace the process of improvement strategies and implementation of new and best business practices. This decision related to the project activities and system implementation shall be developed for the betterment of the entire township. So it's not just the IT department or the finance department, but the entire township. The selection committee shall comprise a diverse group of township leaders, staff committed to dedicating appropriate resources to ensure success. Project objectives. One of the objectives is to modernize our business processes. When we looked at how we are operating, what we're using to do what we do, we already saw that there are a lot of gaps that we need to close in terms of our what we call standard operating procedures. And so we set aside some of these objectives as earlier on when we were doing the analysis. But now, in asking for something that will allow the township to function in a seamless way, we had to make sure that we call this out before calling any of the vendors to give us any solution that will meet these needs. The next thing will be improved services improved service level for the township and its departments. If some of you might recall, every once in a while we get inundated with complaints coming from the community and the constituents with regards to their inability or their frustration to do business with us, whether it's about coming to pull permit licenses or any of those things. There were definitely some of the challenges that we know that we are facing. And so we noted that as well. The next objective is to improve efficiency of township operations. Also, reduction of or elimination of redundant processes. We had so many processes that are redundant. You have so many people doing things that are the same thing, but they are doing it in one department, another department is doing the same thing. Improved and simplified data analysis and reporting for decision makers and stakeholders. This one is very, very important. Because the system is a little bit so disjointed when we did the analysis, it made it so difficult for us to pull a report that will give us a true picture of the entire township. And so we, again, noted that. Improved management of township operation, as well as improved cybersecurity risk. Now, in looking at cybersecurity risk, we realized that the existing system that we have today happens to be what we call on-prem solutions. And the challenges with on-prem solution is that we are the ones who are going to bear the risk, the burden of the responsibility of keeping it up, keeping it secure, keeping it safe. That challenge is huge, and we don't take it lightly. Business drivers. Modernization and technological advancement, efficiency and excellency in business operations, decision making. Now, in decision making, real-time access to information becomes something that is very paramount to us. Because in many cases, we realize that there were gaps, as I called it. And so because you have gaps, you cannot make real-time decision. For instance, I hate to put you on this hot seat, treasurer. The data coming in from treasurer's office probably will have to wait maybe a day before it loads into the main system. So if for any reason you want to get a true picture of what's happening, you might not necessarily get it right away. It's not real time. Robust reporting capabilities, I've touched on it earlier on across the organization. Now, management, an enhanced technology that is scalable, configurable, intuitive, and user-friendly. Remember, we're talking about the drivers, the things that really push us to do what we do. Business processes built on best practices. I'll touch on this a little bit later. Number 5, lack of customer service support from current ERP vendor. Let me talk a little bit about this. The current customer support from the customer support from the current software vendor is really not the best. In situations where we've had to call for emergencies, we are put on, oh, I'll call you back. And I'll call you back meaning maybe not necessarily next day, but maybe next week. And I'll go more into details about why this is so. Slow response time, lack of consistency in the software, reduction and elimination of system customization. System customization meaning that we've customized this system in such a way that anytime the vendor issues an update, it breaks everything because our environment is heavily customized. These are things that we want to get out from. Now, since we're talking about making this major investment in the ERP, if you guys want me to break,
Well, after this one is where you go into, the slide after this is the cost, right? I don't want to break where you, what was the slide after this one?
let's see.
Okay, so,
Yeah. So I can stop on and then come back again on return on investment.
okay, thanks. So
Right.
just based on what Victor said, does anyone have any questions?
I'm just going to make a quick comment on the customer support. I do agree often, especially in the water billing, when we do call, it takes quite a while to get any response on action for that. So, I am looking forward to a program where we can get real-time assistance, because a lot of times it has to do with a bill, water billing with our residents. So I do appreciate that being a concern that you highlighted.
Thank you.
And I think you had said earlier also that residents have to log into different systems to do different things also.
And at the root cause of that is primarily because the solution that we have today is an on-prem solution that the solution provider has said to us, we will no longer invest in this solution. See, when a vendor tells you they are no longer investing in this solution, basically what they're telling you is just get out. And so for us, it's more of we can't afford to continue to stay here. Because what they've done is to pull all their resources out from that solution into a new solution that they've been trying to force us into for obviously more money. And if you continue to stay in the existing solution, you're going to receive a shabby service, basically on your own to an extent. And so I'll touch more on this. I know you guys have to go, but I'll pause here and we'll pick it up when you get back.
All right, thank you, Victor.
All right.
Any other questions before we break? No? Okay, can I have a motion to go into closed session, please?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board go into closed session for the purposes of discussing settlement strategy on pending litigation in the case of Outdoor One v. Canton Township, or Charter Township of Canton, in accordance with Section 8, subsection E of the Open Meetings Act.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Berninski. All those in favor say aye.
Can we do a roll call, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Borninski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
All right.
Thanks, we'll be back in 30 minutes. All right, thank you. Can I have a motion to come out of closed session?
So moved.
Support?
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Okay, Victor, sorry. Do you want to summarize where you were before?
Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay. All right. Well, welcome back. Before we paused, I was basically finishing and talking about the business drivers, the reasons why it makes a lot of business sense for us to look into a new type of ERP solution that would drive the operation of the township business. And so we went through talking about the fact that we needed to modernize our technology for the sake of advancement, the fact that we need to be more efficient and excellent in business operations. We needed a solution that will allow us to make better business decisions that are in real time. Okay. Shut that one off. Okay, thank you. So another driver that we considered was the fact that we needed a system that will give us real-time information about what's going on in the township, and a system that is very robust, that is capable all across. When it comes to management, we wanted something that is very enhanced in technology, that is scalable, configurable, intuitive, and user-friendly. I'll talk about user-friendliness again later on. We wanted something that will help us in terms of our business processes as we adapt to new rules, new policies that mean that we have to change how we do things. We needed something that will be very scalable and adapt, because we all understand, the impact of new laws, new rules. They often come down, and you don't want a system that is so antiquated that it's very difficult for you to adapt and make those decisions. I wanted something that will provide better customer support, because currently what we have right now today, we talked about it, that is the system, or rather the company, one company in question, because we have multiple, does respond to us in a very slow manner. There isn't any consistency in terms of the software that we're using. And also we're looking at very possible mechanisms of reducing and eliminating system customization. And we can talk about that customization in details later on. So all in all, we wanted to make sure that this new ERP that we're talking about, that we will be able to get our return on the investment that we're about to make, because there is it's almost like a given. We cannot really afford to do nothing. I really want to emphasize that to us tonight. We cannot afford to do nothing, because the current system that we have, let me really paint the picture in a way that you'll get it. The current system that we have is an on-prem system, meaning that that system is right here in the township. And anytime anything happens in the township, if we cough in the township, we're worried about, will it come back? The recent event of the flood and the tornado, we got impacted because the power went out. And when the power went out, the system went down. And there's a real possibility that this system that's been running 24/7 cannot come back up when it goes down abruptly like that. Now, you and I know that the township business, we can do what we can do, but sometimes, we can't control what we cannot control. There are people who it's their job to do these kind of things, and they build around it. We are not in that kind of business to build around it and to guarantee, uptime that will allow, businesses to flourish. So again, in talking about a new ERP, making sure that you're counting your return on investment, you have to think about those things. Reduction in operational, administrative, and personnel, right? Time saving that can be reallocated towards strategic initiatives. For you to host a system that is here, it means that you're going to have dedicated staff that is their job to continue to babysit this, maintain it all the time. Well, in recent days, right, those type of people are becoming very rare. They're dwindling. And if you go out to the market now to get another person that can do all that, you are going to pay quite a lot. We've been struggling to fill a couple positions in IT because the asking price is kind of low in terms of what the market offers. So we have to keep that in mind.
So what you're talking about is that you're talking about people that have to basically Band-Aid and hand, carry everything in terms of
Yes.
upgrade software. And, so that's the issue you're talking about versus
That's-
us putting it in the cloud where it would be handled by a company.
Yes. And I was trying to paint a picture of what we have today. It's here, right in the township. And we have the people who have been making this work for a long time. And this system that we've been making to work for a long time has been with us for the past not less than 10 years.
Talking about Jessica Pietka?
Sorry?
Talking about Jessica?
Jessica Pielka is
And
here.
Devin,
All right.
Devin put
is
things together.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Joe Kosinski. You're
Yeah.
talking about really in terms of IT personnel. Again, that's another thing that we have to talk another day. We have an average. Really, let me not put the number of years, but let me put it this way: we have a mature workforce. And the danger about mature workforce is that they can wake up one morning and tell you, you know what, I'm done. And when they say that they are done, they're walking out with that intellectual knowledge of your system, which is no longer obtainable outside, easily obtainable outside. So we have to be very careful and mindful of that. Again, return on investment, better utilization of your resources. I think I skipped over increased value delivered to constituents. This is the part that is very, very huge. And all of you here, you live here in the township. You're also part of these experiences. When the constituents are happy based on the way we interact with them, they relate to us in a positive way. When they are not happy, they relate to us in a not so positive way. And I can tell you that, not scientifically, right? If they are not so happy, they might not be able to pay their bill on time, right? Because the interaction exchange is not so great. And we've proven this by a little adjustment that we made to the treasurer's office by enhancing the way that they collect water bills. And once we did that little enhancement, and you can tell them how that panned out in terms of your collection rates.
Yeah, we've had more residents enroll in the e-utilities or the invoice cloud. It's user-friendly, it's real-time, so if we have a resident call, especially if they're delinquent, and they say they're gonna pay right away, we see it real-time. So we see it as soon as they make that payment. And so we can work with them over the phone. If they're doing something wrong, we can see that it didn't go through. So Invoice Cloud has really made a big difference in our collection of our water billing. It also allows them, if they want to have reoccurrent, if they have a large bill, they can have reoccurring payments each week or each month to pay off their large bill. So there's so many great things that this new program has allowed for our residents.
Thank you so much. So in essence, basically what we're saying is that if you you will definitely get a return on your investment when you invest in the right way, in the right ERP that is, all that has everything that you're asking for. Your residents will be happy. You will be happy. Productivity will be up to the roof, and not just the residents, but also the staff who are actually working. They will be happy with it. It will also help you reduce reduction, help you realize reduction or redeployment of headcount. Now, again, when you're investing in the future, you have to be aware of this one. Avoidance of security / compliance risk and cost. Now, this is one particular element that is very, very important. What we have again is a hosted solution that is on-prem. One of those solutions, the vendor already told us that they are no longer actively developing this product. If you're not actively developing this product, it means that if there is any existing exploit in that system, they might not be so quick to put a patch on it. So you're going to continue to run in a risky mode. And everybody here understands that the township business is very crucial at the moment. We thank God that we haven't made the evening news, and I don't intend for us to make the evening news. Yeah. But if we continue to put our eggs in the basket of a solution that has sort of reached its own dead end, if I may say so, we are increasing our risk. So we try as much as possible to avoid that. And this will count as a return on our investment if we, make the right decision. Overall cost, without the burden of ancillary operational costs. Let me talk a little bit about this. So again, the current solution, when we have a need to integrate with something else, it's very expensive to do that integration. Diane just explained, one of the integrations that we made. It cost us just one pop. It cost us $30,000.
Yeah, to make a
that
software
integration.
change. $30,000 for a software change.
$30,000 because it's an old one. And so it doesn't really make sense for us. Are you telling me that the longer we stay on this, the more we have to make change, and the more we have to make change, the more we have to pay? I don't know if making the connections. On-time remediation of risk. Again, when a vendor tells you that they're no longer actively developing, it means they don't have resources to meet those needs. So if there's any need, they will not deal with it on time. You'll be left to deal with the risk for a very long time. Again, return on investment, increased productivity, faster time to collect revenue. Diane talked about that. Easier to pay bills, improve permit processes. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is reduction in the cost of integration of other legacy applications. I touched on it earlier on when you have to pay $30,000. It's almost like pulling teeth. It's not impossible, but pulling teeth to be able to make things come together. And of course, user-friendliness. User-friendliness meaning that our residents can actually stay in one place, one account, be able to go all across and pay their bill, do their business, the township business. Return on investment. Now, many of this speaks to soft things that you cannot necessarily quantify by a dollar amount. But that you cannot quantify them by a dollar amount doesn't mean that they don't carry value. I know, you all know, a happy resident is a happy stakeholder. This current solution that we have, if you look at it here, we classify them in different ways. There are things here that we call the business applications. This is the tiler, the one that would be notified that it's no longer being actively developed. We have the BSNA. BSNA is the one that allows us to pay the taxes and all that. City View is what we call the community development component. This is where people come in and pull their permits and all that. City Works allows us to keep our assets throughout the township, and S3 is the GIS. Now, everything in this quadrant here, Web CMS, deals with the web. So right here is not part of the ERP, but I wanted to make sure that I keep everybody up to speed in terms of what's going on here. I'm going to talk a little bit more on what's going on here before I move on to the rest of the ERP so that we can keep things in perspective. So overall, we're not dealing with this tonight, but I just want to make sure I keep things in perspective because the web, as provided by Civic Plus, contains everything that we've identified here. This is the basic content management system. When you come to our website, this is what the main one that greets you. Audio I is plugged into that website. Online code hosting is the Municode by the clerk's office. Chatbot is the little one that is at the bottom that you can interact with. All right. Civic Optimize is the one that we're currently deploying that allows us to use forms on the website to collect information from residents. FOIA, handled by Next Request. Everybody knows this. Civic Rec is one used by CLS. Again, it's just informational on this one, but this is more or less for another day.
And you're right, because you will be updating the website. They're actually increasing their costs also, the Civic Plus.
Yes.
And that $110,000, that was annual?
It's annual, yeah.
Okay.
And that's on everything on the website part. So now we're back on the ERP for the township business. So I talked about the fact that Tyler holds, this is currently, again, current, Tyler holds all these functionalities, the financial, the utility management, human resource, payroll, and partial dog licenses. Everything under Tyler's belt is this, all right? BSNA handles accessing and taxes today. CityView deals with permits, inspection, and licenses. Again, I made reference a while back in terms of integrations. We currently have several integrations between here and here. And also we have some not so great integration. It's more or less like, at the end of the day, so the records are not up to date. So what you have here doesn't really give you a true picture at any time. I know, so when it doesn't fully reflect over here.
Can I ask?
Yes.
All of the community development stuff that happens with leisure services, is there a reason that we're not including that up here or no? Or not through CityView, through Civic Rec?
So before you were out, so I talked about everything that is under, let me see.
All the applications?
Right here.
Yeah.
So everything that is under here, this is a separate ecosystem,
And we're treating it as such.
and we're treating it as such.
But people make reservations and payments through Civic Rec, right?
Yes.
And then we blend it behind the scenes
Behind the
with
scene, yes.
BSNA,
Yes.
but we're treating it as a separate ecosystem.
We're treating it because, all right, and we didn't really have much choice to doing so, right? Now, pay attention to what's happening here. Municode used to stand alone. The company called Civic Plus went and bought them
Sure.
and put them under their belt. Next Request used to stand alone. Civic Rec went and bought them and put them under their belt. So we really didn't have an option to put all these things under one belt here. Civic Rec, which handles recreational management, and Civic Plus, which is the website that everything falls under, basically are all part of this whole thing here under one entity.
Gotcha.
All right. So we didn't arrive there just overnight.
Perfect.
All right. Okay. And this is the current cost of that ecosystem, if I may call it that. All right. So back here on the ERP solution, we know what's going on here. Tyler New World, BSNA, and CityView. Any question for me so far?
Setting aside public safety as well?
Public safety is really not here except for their representation in payroll. The public safety management is,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Now, we kind of switch gears on this current ERP solution. Now that we've kind of laid the foundation of a few things. We know what Tyler provides, finance, HR, and utility management. And we see the annual cost here for finance is about $60,000. HR payroll, 31,000. Utility management is about 30,000. Now, community development, that is City View, is 81,000, and tax assessing BSNA is 33,000. Now, I want to make sure I emphasize something here. Tax and assessing, that is BSNA, you cannot. You have to do business just that way because it's a state mandate. You have to pay tax through BSNA.
Oh, because the county uses BSNA,
Because the county,
right? Okay.
you really don't have an option. You're stuck with it. There's nothing you can do about that. So I want to make sure I lay that foundation because of what we are going to start seeing from here.
Okay.
And the
Right.
Tyler New World is all, that's not in the cloud. That's all basically what
So
our
yes.
customized solution with Tyler.
Yeah, everything that we have here, everything here is on-prem. Everything here is right
Okay.
here. This community development City View here, right here, heavily customized. This is the one that is currently giving us a ton of grief.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one with the permit inspections and
Yes.
it's really, it throws permits 2 weeks ahead of time. So it's really
Right, or
giving some.
Even the payment.
It's
yeah,
really
it's a
not
nightmare.
so, I want to use the word scalable, all right? It doesn't meet the needs of the environment. We re-engineer it, pamper it, just to be able to get it going.
What about Kronos? Is that Tyler New World?
Kronos is separate entities, time management, but it syncs with payroll and time management
Gotcha.
and, yeah,
Okay.
HR.
But it's not listed here.
Yes, but it pipes into
Yep.
here, all right?
Okay.
And here and finance. All right. Okay. So we set out to, we set out to get a new ERP that will allow us to function better without much pain. And when we did the RFP, we hired a consultant and we set our timeline. We are currently here, reference checking, because we've gone through the software demonstration last 2 weeks. Between last 2 weeks and last week, we've gone through the software demonstration, and we are hoping to do the final selection by end of the month. And by December, we should be able to have identified some, have a final answer for us, and then begin the process of negotiations. Now, the demonstration was a lengthy one. Some of you participated in it. This is a sample of that demonstration. We had 3 companies come in here. 2 of them gave us a proposal of full package, and 1 gave us a proposal of less than full package. But each of those vendors went through something like this, and each vendor was given 2 days to demo their product. This is a sample for BSNA on Monday, on the 6th, and on the 7th. So this is the schedule, and we had the committee participate in it, and it was open as well for everybody who wanted to participate. It was an enlightening moment because we were able to see how these companies are proposing to solve or tackle the challenges that were presented to them during the the RFP. When the RFPs came in, this was a basic snapshot of what we got. Again, BSNA gave us a solution for all the modules. Keep in mind that BSNA also is the only one that can provide the tax and assessing. There's a company called Cogsdale. They gave us everything, but that everything that they gave us was really it was still disjointed. So just keep that in mind. And of course, Tyler, City View didn't have any utility billing, payroll, nor do they have finance. They only came in for community development. Again, keep in mind, City View is what we're currently using that's giving us grief. Fort Square gave us a couple, finance and HR, and they didn't give us utility billing and community development. North Star gave us just one, utility billing. And UKG, you asked about UKG. UKG gave us just HR payroll because, of course, that's what they are known for.
They do.
When we looked at all these things, we were able to make a selection of 3 companies to come in for demo. Now, we're going to stay in this slide for a little bit and talk about this. So, again, what you see in front of you is broken down based on current solution, new solution, higher than current in terms of the cost and percentage of that. Current solution, again, we've seen this information in the previous slide. In the new solution that was proposed by Tyler, Tyler gave us their new solution, and this is their total price. It's about $484,000. It's important to point out again that Tyler, this cost here, $33,000, is going to run the same all across, right? Because of the fact that they are the only one, BSNA is the only one that can provide that. So even if we go to any other vendor, we're still going to have to go back to BSNA and grab this because of state requirement.
Then why is it up high? Why is it $21,000 higher under the new solution?
It's going to go to the cloud.
Because again, remember this current solution here is on-prem.
Oh, that's if we go cloud.
So
Yeah.
this one that they're proposing, the same thing is their cloud solution.
Gotcha.
They're basically telling us that our current solution is going to go away.
All right,
So
so
we're-
it's
they're
cloud.
forcing us to the
So
cloud.
we're going to talk about it some more because we have to understand that there is an expectation of higher cost when you go to cloud because of obvious added responsibilities that you're taking that the company is taking with
wait.
regards to providing service in the cloud.
BSNA is telling us we have to go into the cloud.
Tyler,
BSNA too. BSNA is telling us.
So then why, under the other solutions, are we keeping the on-premises costs if we are going to have to migrate BSNA to the cloud anyway? Shouldn't the numbers for
Be
the
the
new
cloud
solution
number.
for Tyler and new solution for Foursquare be at $54,900 instead of $33,000?
I'm glad you caught that. Now, we can only control what we can control. Right now, when we are making the assumption, right, we are making the assumption based on what we have right now. We haven't gone into negotiations with BSNA to say, okay, your cloud solution, can we buy just out of your cloud solution, right? Just out of your cloud solution of the tax. You see what I'm saying? What we have today is the on-prem solution that we've been able to integrate. We have what we call SLA, right? That allows us to integrate that on-prem solution to Tyler. And that's at a cost of that $33,000. All right, so we could make the assumption to go with that number, 54,000, after we've made a decision and they agreed to that. So we chose to go with the one that we know.
Okay.
Right. But you're absolutely right. We can equally work on that assumption of 54,000 across the board.
But we could keep the on-premises BSNA solution going forward under the worst-case scenario.
Under worst case scenario, technically, yeah, but do you want to do that? No.
That's a values question.
well,
Yeah,
but
you-
there's
I
some
don't know.
point- Well, they only have one person basically supporting it.
So,
And-
again, remember, every solution provider is really indirectly telling you, get to our cloud service.
When they start pulling their customer service reps.
They
and-
start pulling their resources.
Yes.
All right, so you really,
I'm just trying to separate
Yeah.
shoulds and woulds and coulds so that I
Yes.
have a baseline understanding of what we,
yeah.
what we can expect.
So if you look at this, right? If you look at this, Tyler is coming up here at 176,000 for the finance component. HR is 21, utility management is 38, and you have community development 215. again, the cost here is what we call in standard cost, but can be argued, right? If you take this one, replace it over here, that means that we are over $500,000 a year on this one over here. Now, you look at the differences between now and what they are proposing, you are looking at 246,000 or maybe 260-some thousand additional money. You go to BSNA. BSNA is proposing 109,000 as against, the on-prem here, and 49 as against 31 here, 26 as against 30, 76,000 as against 81,000, and of course, this one is the increased cost. The same thing that we saw, basically marginal increase in costs because of conduction of business in the cloud. If what you are seeing here tells you or makes the case that there is an added cost when you go to do business in the cloud, but you have to remember, those added costs means that you're not the one paying for the life cycle of the hardware that supports this, right? Because for us to support this, we have to pay for the hardware. We have to pay for the software that will drive this. We have to pay for the servers that support this. We have to pay for the personnel that takes care of this. We have to pay for electricity bill that this consumes.
Yeah.
And when power goes off, it's on our head, all right? But when you're doing this in the cloud, you could care less, it's their business. So you can expect that there's added cost. But over the years, it will level off, all right?
So when your power goes off and everything comes back up, you just pull your data down from the cloud again versus hoping your system comes back up on the
Exactly.
networks we have in the closets everywhere.
Has
And
there-
if your
has
power
there-
goes off, really, as long as you have internet somewhere, you're still in business.
Is there discussions, if we go to a cloud-based system, of getting rid of some of our servers or some of our employees?
That's another added incentive, yes.
Excuse
Yes, yes, and yes. Right? So again, Foursquare, when you look at Foursquare here, Foursquare again gave us a cost of 153,000 as against the current one here for financial, and payroll here 79,000. They did not present anything for utility management, community development, and of course, nobody else can do the tax and assessing. So again, similar to what we did here, right? We assume the cost here of these two here. I put not available here, but we assume the cost here to make this calculation to come out to what we came out to in terms of the variance of 140,000. Because you have to put something here. If you choose these guys, you have to pay for these two and this one. So
Do we have an à la carte solution for utility management and community development?
it's really up to us.
I mean, does anybody provide that?
Well,
Tyler,
Or you could go to
BSNA.
Yeah.
BSNA and Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tyler will separate their cloud systems.
That's the assumption. They can. We can
Okay.
negotiate that through.
Okay,
All right.
so you're looking at an additional $100,000 if we ended up going with new solution, Foursquare, and then got, oh no, it's BSNA.
Yeah.
It's the Tyler, an extra 250,000 on top of that. If we
Let me
went
say
that route.
something about these guys here, Foursquare. I know we haven't made our decision, but I have to tell you our experience. Among all these three, the backbone of this is the strongest. But the guys that presented this did a horrible job. This here is on the backbone of Oracle. And everybody in the industry understands that Oracle is, heavy in terms of, database and stuff. It's in the backbone of Oracle. But they did a horrible job in terms of, telling us that they truly, truly understand the business operation of, public sector. a horrible job. So you're going to see this in the way that all the participants of the demo responded to a survey.
Gotcha.
Because our consultants conducted a survey right after, when everything is still fresh in the mind of everybody. And I got to talk about implementation costs, which is something different. All right. So
Hey, there it is.
implementation cost, Tyler again gave us an implementation cost of 1.2 million, BSNS 697. However, this 697 is bound to increase because we did ask them for, they did not get back the cost to me. We asked them for a redundant site. Everybody here, Tyler and Foursquare, when you go to the cloud, they give you a test site. So you have your production and you have your test, so that when you, before you push to your production, you're supposed to, test it out in your test site. These guys said they're only giving us one site. And we said, no, we want another. They said, it's at a cost. Well, we said, okay, you need to tell us what that cost is. They say, okay, so this is definitely going to increase when, when push comes to shove. But again, Foursquare, remember, they are only giving us like 2 modules, but their 2 modules is 1.2 million to implement. And these guys are, again, the guys that came with the, Oracle, and they can't sell it. I think it's fair to say that they're out of running.
Okay.
Really, right now. It's fair to say.
That's good to know.
So it's between BSNA and Tyler.
Now, how much did the board set aside $1 million for ERP
Yes.
Yeah.
implementation?
Yes.
For 1 year.
Okay.
In the budget?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which did we use ARPA funds for that?
No.
No.
That was just surplus? Okay.
So let's see. So again, I made a reference to the survey.
Yeah, there you
After the demo, we surveyed everybody. 38 people responded, and you have this as a result. So you have just a slight right now. These are respondents, right, saying that they will prefer Tyler against 17 here, BSNA. I don't know about you guys in terms of statistics, margin of errors and stuff. I think it's a dead heat.
go. Yeah, it's a dead tie.
All right. So given that this is a dead heat, it's really telling us something. Once you see this, it's telling you something. And the more you dive into it, the more you begin to see the dynamics of what was going on. People from finance department,
Like Tyler.
like Tyler, they love
And
Tyler.
everyone else likes me.
You dance with the one that brung you.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the rest of the people, they love BSNA.
Interesting.
But you have to remember too, that just in terms of Tyler, they aren't gonna get the same Tyler.
Yes.
They're gonna
Who
get,
voted for Foursquare? Just kidding. Teasing.
actually, well, yeah,
Joe.
no. The people that know, it's, yeah,
I can take a wild guess, and that will blow your mind. It was HR.
HR, that's what I thought.
Okay.
they had a good interface.
All right,
Yeah.
I assume that the finance department in voting for Tyler were voting on the functionality or the familiarity of the applications and not from a finance department perspective, the financials of that, that they weren't taking that into consideration when they voted here as well.
So, yes. So you have a lot of familiarity kind of thing going on, right? Because when you look at it, the rest of the folks who are coming into this didn't have the element of familiarity. Okay, so let's take a step back. All the solutions that were proposed are not the same based on what we are using. It may be proposed by the same company, but different package. Tyler's package that they've given us here is what they call Tyler Munis. What we are currently using is not Tyler Munis. BSNA, again, what we are currently using in BSNA is, again, local product, on-prem. What they're proposing is their cloud solution. So either way is different. However, difference really between that in BSNA and Tyler for the users in the township, for the township, happened to be that one, for financials, they were able to maintain some familiarities with regards to standard of operation, how you do things, all right? They could relate to that. Those weren't changing. And that really speaks to a lot of things that we really want to dive into.
How many votes did finance have?
Finance,
Yeah, how many votes did they have?
I can,
I'm just kind of curious.
yeah.
If you like weighted it by department, because again, like,
So, oh,
why
sorry.
would my vote on the treasury component of BSNA be equal to Diane's, right? I mean, it's okay, it looks pretty. Don't do that though.
While you're doing that, Victor, I'm assuming that the impact of migration for each department that you have, I don't know if you have a chart on this already or not, but like the clerk's office versus treasurer versus finance, municipal services, et cetera. I don't know if leisure services plays a part in that. The Civic Plus is separate, but that there will be impact in migration. I don't know if it's impacting everyone equally, or if you have a feel that some, depending on what we choose, some will be impacted more than
Okay.
others.
To answer that question, history lesson, right? Before me, before Victor, BV, in Township, the current Tyler instance that we have during that implementation, finance department was very engaged, and they got Tyler to, I won't say customize, to work with them to streamline the business processes. They were very, very engaged in the process. And so when you talk about people who are invested in something, you could see that because they basically busted their behind, so to say, right, earlier on. I couldn't say that, and I couldn't discover that from other departments. And maybe it might have affected what other departments got out of the system. So, fast forward now in terms of your question. If we treat it that same way, 10 years from now, we're going to get the same kind of thing. Because whenever you're going into implementation of any new solution, what you give in is what you get. And that's one of the things that I've really tried and continue to push. Participation, so that we can get all that we need to get, especially when it comes to standard operating procedures. It's the key. Standard operating procedure is the key for you to really get the right result that will help you to become productive. If you disengage and you're not there, the vendor will call it a close, wash their hands, go down to Florida, enjoy while you're over here sulking. That's just the way it works in the industry. So I'm hopeful that in this case, it's a clean sheet for everybody. Finance is coming to the table again. It's not the same as usual. They're going to have to go through that process again. They don't like it, but the only thing they got going for them is the familiarity. They have their reports and all that kind of stuff. MSD, for instance, in terms of community development, they're coming from something that is, if you ask me, any department in the township that wants this to happen like yesterday is MSD, because
Yeah.
they are the ones that are catching the ton of grief,
Yeah, with inspection.
right? So again, there's the buy-in. They just want to get out of that. There's the buy-in. And I'm really hopeful that this process will result in something that is greater for us. I see it as a true opportunity for us to do great things and set us right for the next 15 years. What we cannot do is to do nothing, because we will not survive if we do nothing, because basically our constituents will chew us out based on, the antiquated nature of our service delivery,
Sure, thanks.
right?
Yeah, we have to come into the 21st century at some point, you know. We have-
Right.
We have these networks and closets and over at
Yeah.
DPW and.
So you had asked me a question about how many people from each department responded.
Yeah.
Let me see. I know it's here.
Vote.
No, it's here. Give me
I
one.
just
Ah,
saw
there.
a bunch of
Departments,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
There you have it. Okay.
Where's clerks?
So,
We should have had,
Treasurer's Office had
two.
one,
We should have
Public
had
Works
two.
4,
Maybe they didn't respond to the survey.
Finance
should have
8,
invited too.
Community Development 7. That,
Where's clerks?
it might be
Okay.
in order. Might be here.
That's
Maybe
probably
one
because
year's
water
not
water
just-
billing is probably another
I
as
just like
well.
so my previous deputy, Anthony, when he left and went to Ferndale, I've had a few conversations with him, but the first thing he said was they were on BSNA Cloud, and he said, "Dear God, if they try to move you to BSNA Cloud, fight them, because I would go back to on-premise Tyler."
Cost or just the,
Just the steps in place for doing a dog license or just issuing a license in general. He was like, it's brutal. It's just such a challenge. So I was just curious
We
how
did
Katie
ask-
voted.
We asked them about, every single one of them, we asked them about the dog license.
Well, and we're such a small part of that.
And also remember that dog licenses, while, again, this whole process for us to get to the promised land in terms of this, we're looking at a year plus, right? Maybe
Yeah.
a year and a half or so.
Oh,
So
God.
we have to live between now and that year and a half or two. And so dog licenses, we're already making change, and that we're gonna push that dog license to Civic Optimize. It's already done. I think Katie knows
Yes.
about that. So it's a solution that is better than we have today. So, and that will give us, until we get to this, wherever we
I
are
know.
landing in this.
And I can tell you, the ERP solution as it relates to dog licenses is a fraction of what the ERP's impact is to treasurer's office or finances office. I would scale kind of like my thoughts, and I wouldn't like rate my opinion even close to as high as another department that interacts with the ERP on a more regular
Yeah.
basis.
So the interaction, and we did talk about this in terms of, if I stop this one and go back to the,
PowerPoint?
let's see, I know my time is kind of fast spent. Let me. Okay, and I go back to this here, so, where is that? Okay. Okay, let's see if this. The interaction between, so dog licenses currently is right here.
But that
I mean,
wouldn't be
sorry,
a city.
licenses, partial dog licenses
Yeah.
right here, because we are pulling it from a different solution and then coming manually to do the license here. And there isn't any actual integration
Yeah,
for that.
that's correct.
BSNA told us that they have a dog license that is coming. Tyler told us that they have a dog license that is coming. We don't know yet. What I know is that we worked out a solution for dog licenses that will carry us through the transition.
Yeah,
period.
transition. No, we're
Right.
good.
Okay, so now that I know I've unloaded a lot on you guys. Again, we are right here. We are right here. The expectation is that after this reference check-in, the committee is going to meet, and after the committee's meeting, when they take a vote, in terms of which way. Once that vote is taken, then we're going to package that and bring it back before you and say, this is the voting of the committee.
What if it's a tie? It
Sorry?
looks like it's a tie.
You know, and a couple questions I have for you, Victor, is, you know, because we saw the votes and that, is it possible, I know we want to stick with one, but is it possible to have two? Have Tyler for some and BSNA for others? You know, my goal is to make it user-friendly both for the staff and for our residents. It'd be great to have one portal so they can pay their water bill, their taxes, their dog license, their permits, all of that in one. But is it possible that we could use, you know, part of one and part of the other?
Okay, so in answer to that question, you got to keep in mind, the two solutions that I proposed, they are all cloud solutions. There are a few things that happen with cloud. It's easier. It's assumed that it's easier to integrate.
Right.
So we work on that assumption that it's easier to integrate. Now, if we go here, and let's say we do what you say, or we call it cherry pick, right? And we say, okay, finance, you come up on this, and also take this HR, because they work hand in hand, finance and HR. And then we jump right here, utility management, and grab this from BSNA, come here, grab this from community development, grab this from here, come to tax, grab this one. When you do this too, I didn't have this slide because I didn't, you know, I didn't want to be on record as fronting a solution.
Yeah.
But I've thought about this kind of scenario. I've worked it in so many ways. When you do that, you're going to come up with a number that is somewhere around 310,000 somewhere, which is maybe 70 or 60 some thousand in addition, all right? And then you have to, again, go into serious negotiation with the vendors to make sure that you call out what you want to implement from day one, all right? So everybody will live in their happy world. Finance will live in their happy world. You know, MSD and the Treasurer's Office will live in their happy world. And IT will be sulking later on because we'll be
That's right.
Extra work, yeah.
But either way, we don't mind, all right? As long as the township is being efficient and productive.
Sure.
So I would say, let's wait until they vote. We'll come back to you guys. The board is the one with the final decision. Whatever you say is what we're going to implement. But this is what we have currently in this whole initiative. This is where we are. Yes.
Victor, so with that in mind, will the committee be taking into account an option to mix and match? And will they also be taking into account the cost of it? So not just like which one they like better, but the fact that the one they like better may cost twice as much as the other one, and is the value of that function worth that extra cost?
Certainly, in the criteria for the RFP, there's a breakdown in terms of, you know, how you rate, all right? Cost has its own merit, it has its own weight, and, you know, the rest of that. So they will factor cost, definitely. They will factor
The
cost.
committee.
The committee, yes.
Okay.
Yes, Kate.
So just a comment based on my use of BSNA, because I've used it a bit, and I have not used in the other solutions. But I, you know, like when I have to go pay my homeowners association dues, I always have to figure out what my lot number is. So I go and look on there, and I'm like, oh, okay, here's my property description, and so that's what I see. You know, for Canton, it's pretty limited what we have in there. But I had a friend who needed some information about Walled Lake, I think it was. And so I went in, because they're on BSNA also, and I was really surprised I could find like all the permits that had been pulled for different properties and things like that. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So,
Wow.
just my,
That would
be
save
on
the
the cloud
FOIA
version.
coordinator a lot of extra work.
You know,
Could that be the cloud version versus?
yes, well, we saw quite a lot of improvement in terms of what they demoed for us because they obviously proposing their cloud solution. And here's another thing with the cloud solution, as we've talked about it and grappling with the fact that they cost quite so much. When developments happen, it happens in their cloud, and they deploy that right away. So you're getting the latest and the greatest in real time. If it's on-prem, you're going to have to schedule that update at a time that suits them and you, right? But in this case, let's assume there's a security breach. They won't even tell you it's on them to make sure that the system that they're supporting in the cloud is patched up and on time. If there's an improvement in terms of the interface, again, in this all functionality, they push it out in the cloud because it's in their hands, all right, to maintain and monitor and manage all this at the same time. They did show us quite a lot of improvement based on the cloud solution that they're proposing. And yes, it can do quite a lot in this case. All right,
Anyone else?
question?
I would just add some comments, not questions or concerns, but just coming from an industry background that cloud has been part of my career before there was cloud. I sold time sharing and other iterations of what's cloud before people loved cloud. And it's no question in my mind that we should be going to the cloud. I mean, that's just the way the world is now. And all the benefits that Victor stated of going to the cloud, to me, are very real. I see it in my job every day. Everything that my company does and my customers do these days is on the cloud. It's not even a question anymore. And then the whole aspect of this is actually more recent for me in the last year. I've worked on projects where we've looked at the software on thousands of my clients' pieces of hardware. And I had no idea how confusing and how intricate it is to manage software and hardware end of life, different dates. There's end of sale, there's end of software maintenance, there's end of security support, there's dozens of different dates for almost every piece of equipment. And as much as you can get away from that, you save on headcount managing that stuff, not just managing upgrading that stuff, but just managing, which has been my job in the last year, just managing the inventory and the status of each of those devices. So I think we save a lot of money both on the applications going in the cloud, but just getting the hardware out of our building. So I'm interested to see which direction the committee goes. I don't think there's a complete right answer up there. I think we'll have benefits and some, drawbacks to each and every one of them, but it's definitely moving in the right direction. We can't stay in what we've done in the past.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That kind of reinforces, what we've been saying all the while. I want to say that, assuming money is not an issue, again, and we want to make sure also that the people who are doing the job, that they do the job with the right tool so that they can bring about the right result. So we put that into consideration. So not just money, making sure people are happy, making sure that we do things in the way that will help us bring the right result, that our constituents are happy. All these things are weighing heavily on folks. Now, what you saw, the dead heat that you saw was just a survey. I know the survey is more like an inclination in terms of how people are going to vote, but if it becomes a dead heat, it will probably come to the board, and the gentleman and lady from Canton will strike the winning vote.
And I guess one thing I want to say, so the technology committee, Victor's really been great at bouncing things off the technology committee because you have a lot of the experts there. And Kelly Loria is also one who helped us with this because she's also an expert on these kind of systems. And Kelly is online. She, I won't say that.
I'll defer my vote to her.
So Kelly, if you want to comment, please raise your hand. But I just want to talk about something that we met this afternoon and went over this presentation again. And she helped because she does this a lot in her job and over how many, 25, 30 years. But one thing we looked at is this may look more expensive, but embedded in this, in our current system, is are people that maintain it, like we said. People that maintain it and into the future, and we'll need more if we keep what we have. And this frees up staff to do other things also, rather than Band-Aid everything together. Also, as was said, just to make a change on the software, we're being told it's $30,000. Just
$30,000.
yeah, and that doesn't even state.
That's one.
That's just one change.
Just one change.
So that's not even the cost that we saw. So I'm going to move you, Kelly. I'm going to move you over. Hi, Kelly. So just if you want to unmute and go ahead. Oh, you just have to unmute. Yeah, she raised her hand.
Sorry
Okay.
about that.
That's-
Hello, everyone. Victor and Anne Marie, I thought you did a great job explaining the challenge and the potential solution. And as a citizen, I'm very excited about the potential of making this type of change to this modern software and computing model. And thanks for letting me listen in.
No, thanks for your help. We really appreciate it. We appreciate your expertise. And it is important. I mean, like Victor said, we've got current employees and we have to design for the next generation, right? We have to look at what's in the future. And I know a lot of people are scared to move forward, but we have to, just for the cybersecurity, the security and, just protecting what we have. But also, if you look at, some of the decision points we talked about is what is their customer support that the committee should look at? The customer support, what's the cost? What is the IT support required? What is the the security? Also, ease of use for residents. That was a big one. Employees, vendors. How many times have all of us heard that vendors don't want to do business in Canton because of just the process? The permitting process, the scheduling process. So just think about that. What are our residents losing out on because they might not get the best bid because that vendor's saying, I'm not coming to Canton? So this helps with that, to have a system that they are comfortable in using and that they use in other communities and will help our residents. So there's a lot of reasons to do this. But yeah, the team did a great job, but also doing nothing is something, right? And so we want to be like that. And I always worry when I first came here and they showed me those networks shoved in the closet in the DPW building. I'm like, oh my God, if this building burns down, we lose everything. I guess one question we should ask, I don't know if they consider this, is, we have .gov if you think about our emails, which means it's just reside in the US. What about these clouds? Can they be accessed from China or whatever, or are they safe in the US? How does that work?
So that's part of the requirement of the RFP.
Okay.
So we put it in the RFP that any respondent must guarantee us that the cloud on which that they are going to provide their solution is in the continent of United States. Okay. And so they did tell us that. After the demonstration, I did have a follow-up question I requested for their cloud instance audit report. And also, so they said they're going to furnish that by tomorrow. I need to look at, that audit report, make sure that when they were audited, there are nothing that was flagged that I need to be aware of, particularly with Tyler. you know, I have to disclose this here. With Tyler, Tyler is using for credentials, management of their credentials, they're using a solution that is called Okta. If you are paying attention to what's going on today, Okta had been breached several times here in America. And so we put it to Tyler when they made their presentation. We said, can you give us, can you exempt us from using your Okta for authentication? They say, oh, no, we can't do that. That their Okta is, you know, that Okta is sound, that yes, they recognize that Okta had been in the news for bad press and, you know, being breached. So I said that at that point, I say, you know what? It doesn't make sense to me to continue to ask this question. The only thing that will tell me that is your audit report. So we requested for that audit report, and we're going to go through it and see how many times they've been cited for that, if it's there. And then, you know, if we make a decision to, you know, tangle with Tyler in the cloud, we're going to have to negotiate with them on that particular aspect, make sure that we are fully covered, you know. But right now, I just want to make sure I disclose that we also asked our questions about their credentials being managed by Okta.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any other questions or comments? Great,
Great job.
good job. All right, well, let's see if any public comment. No Kelly, you comment. I'm looking for any other hands out there online. Any other comments? No comments, no comments. Okay. All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Hot dog.
We're adjourned.